Okay, welcome to everybody here who is a new trader, and those of you who aren't, this might be a nice review for everybody. But this lesson is going to be focused on brand new traders and kind of what they should do as a first step for trading. So everybody can feel free to ask questions in the chat there. No right or wrong answers, no stupid questions. Just, if it's something you're curious about, you're a new trader, feel free to ask, because that's kind of the purpose of this, is here to help new traders. And then, for people who are more advanced, we will get into that a little further on in the session, as we are doing a second session for advanced traders and then another session for pro traders. So, and the purpose of these sessions are just going to be to try to elevate everybody who is trading, and simple as that. This is being recorded. I'll toss it on YouTube. I'll send it to the video editor and then get it up on YouTube for anybody who wasn't able to watch, or anybody who needs a second viewing or anything. So, okay. The first thing, brand new traders, there's kind of a feeling of being lost because there's a lot that we go over in trading. There's, what do we need for a setup? How do we connect to an exchange? What material do we learn? And those are the things I'm going to be tackling. So imagining there's a lot of people here who are somewhere stuck between brand new, don't know what they're doing, to, okay, I'm on my way, but what's the next step? So we're going to be covering everything that's just brand new focused. One of the first things everybody needs to realize as a day trader is it's a tough career. Like, this is not something that you can just walk into and be successful. And there's many people who takes them years and years and years of training just to become profitable. And there's some people who get it right away and they're just instantly firing off. Luckily, I was one of those people back in 2011. And right at the end of 2011, when I first started, I had a lot of different skill sets from different game theory games like poker and stuff like that really helped me. And, my first piece of advice to everybody is always focus on the things that we don't do in trading, such as bankroll management, mental analysis, things and skill sets that allow you to control your emotions and control your bankroll. Like, those are always going to be the first two things that I tell people. Like, this, if you're going to become a trader, master these two things first. Technical analysis, despite how complex it seems, isn't that hard. You get to a point with technical analysis, it's like any skill set. It's like becoming a plumber. It's like becoming an electrician, or maybe something even a little more tough, like a doctor or a lawyer, or something that requires more schooling. There's certain patterns and habits that we simply repeat time after time after time. So, when you get to the level of being a pro and you're trading 100x or 200x or something like that, and you're getting to be profitable daily without really any kind of hiccups or flaws, it's a really simple process, to be honest. You go on your charts, you mark your charts, and then you're tasked with making the correct decision. And, for a very, very top level, top down approach to trading, I can turn my screen share on and just show you guys kind of how I do it as well. You go on the charts, you mark your levels, you take your trades. It's very simple. Like, even this morning, before we got into this session, there was simply a 1 minute level right here. And I'm going to simplify this very much. My orange levels here, here's a 5 minute. That was already tested. I wanted to ladder off this 1 minute. It hits that 1 minute perfectly. I didn't take this trade because I was getting ready for this session, but you can have that perfect accuracy by just simply going on your charts and doing technical analysis the best way possible, in terms of understanding what levels will be hit. And you've got your 15 minute up here, is your 15 minute down here. This stuff takes 2 minutes to do. 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes when you get to a certain level. So it's not this big cumbersome process. Most of what we do as we get better at technical analysis and as traders is decision making. So all of these levels we mark, they're very standard. Like, here's a 1 minute level, for example. Here's a 15 minute origin. It took me all of 10 seconds to find these. Go here, look for the greediest point inside of this level. If you were to mark this down, you've got 4 hour here. I'm going to go the long route here and color code all my levels, even though I don't need to, but 4 hour level here, mark it down. There's 1 hour combo level here. It's not exactly a great level. I don't like it. So now we know that this is disconnected, so we can use the lowest time frame. I've already got my answer. I already know it's a 1 minute time frame, because this is now a disconnected time frame. We wouldn't be looking for 15 minute levels. We wouldn't be looking for anything else. We could just automatically go to the 1 minute level here. untested inside that range because it is disconnected. And this is a bit of a higher analysis viewing on this. And you'd mark 3 levels here. You'd mark the backside, you'd mark the front side, you'd mark the body. So you have all of these 3 levels happen within $10 of each other. At that point, you might as well just take this one. I have the backside marked because the backside in this scenario can increase your accuracy a little bit because the backside fires all 3 levels. It fires the body, the wick, and the test of the backside. Fast forward to the part of the move where you see that gets hit. And again, I would just take 395 there. And you can see it hits 395 perfectly and it just drops. So this is actually quite a simple process that we do with technical analysis. So, and there's 100% profits in, I don't know, what time does this hit? 7:02 to 8:08, an hour of patience, and you get 100% profit. So this is something that is very standard for high level traders. It takes you all of a few moments to find these levels. And, even going back to here, okay, so if this doesn't hold, what's the next level? Well, let's start looking for origins. Well, do we have an origin here on the hourly? We're going to take a little bit of time to mark these. Hourly here, or that's a 4 hour. There's actually no hourly here at all. So you got a 4 hour here. It's fine. Keep going back. Do we have any other origins? Oh, we have a 15-minute right here, and it was created right here. So this is confirmed an origin in this moment. So it'd be simply an origin you'd be looking for, and this might be a higher time frame. So you would just delete this, disconnect the time frame, take your replayer tool off, go see that origin level hit. Again, it just gets hit perfectly multiple times for pretty decent trades. And 15-minute there, hits, pulls back again. And then there's all sorts of other techniques we do. This is a very quick top-down look just to illustrate that for new traders, technical analysis isn't the end goal that you should be looking for. It's good to learn technical analysis, but at the end of all of this stuff, like, it's pretty easy to go take two minutes of your time and mark out technical analysis, right? Can you go over disconnected levels? No, that's not what we're doing today. That's much more advanced mentorship stuff, not in the agenda for today. So when you're a new trader, just the first thing you have to realize is getting that technical perfection. It comes in time and it becomes the easiest part of our job. So as a brand new trader, there has to be a more, I don't want to say more, there has to be a larger focus put on things like mental analysis, bankroll management, things that will allow you to stay day trading as you learn. Getting perfect levels isn't going to allow you to stay a day trader because we all can mark perfect levels. It's very simple. A hold level's a hold level, this and that. And it's the decision-making process. And as you get more advanced down past technical analysis, comparative analysis is where it really takes a lot of that power in decision-making and becoming a better trader. But first and foremost, before any of that can happen, mental analysis has to be on point and very well refined so that you can actually stay in this industry without getting burnout until you are at that level. And bankroll management, because there's my years and years and years of doing this, my 7 years of doing this publicly now, or 6 or 7 or whatever it is now, I have seen so many people who are good traders blow through accounts and they had so much potential and they end up leaving trading and quitting with a bad taste in their mouth because they simply didn't have control over financials or your bankroll. They want to make, they put a lot of pressure on themselves. They want to make a huge amount of money extremely fast. They want to go and do 100x leverage trading. And if they have a $10,000 account, they think it's okay to use $2,000 on a trade or $1,000 on a trade when they first start. And then all of a sudden a quarter of their bank account is gone and they just want to take one more trade to chase it back. And all of a sudden they're at half a bank account. Mentally, they're exhausted. Emotionally, they're checked out. And they just say, well, screw it. I'll just make it all back with one trade, $5,000. All I need is 1%. And then they wash an account. Now, this is a very exaggerated example, but there's versions of this story that I've heard, many versions, where it might not be 2 or 3 trades. It might be 10 or 20. And it might not be over the course of a day or two. It might be over the course of a week or two. But really, you have to equip yourself for a multi-year journey with this. And if you make it before that, great. And if not, then, you have to reevaluate how you're training and what you're doing. So that's kind of the first thing I wanted to go over, is just what it takes when you're first starting is just a lot of thinking and learning and just going slow with this stuff. Learn as hard and as fast as you can, but your actions on the chart should be slow. They should be methodical and they should be well thought out. Just going to take a look at a few questions here before I get on to the next piece, we seriously need really to have much more sessions like this. Yeah, I think this is really important to help people, when they're learning different ways they can look at the charts. How do you know when your MA or bankroll is the issue? So I have the mental analysis series on YouTube, Mental Analysis Evolved. If people haven't seen that, they need to go take that. It's a very insightful course that I made. It's called Mental Analysis Evolved. I believe it's in playlist 2 or 3. Let's take a look. Let's find out where it is. Hello and welcome to the Future of Trading Remastered is level 3. Mental Analysis Evolved. It's part of level 2. So if you go into level 2, it looks like it's number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's number 6. That the rest of level 2 is all your mental analysis evolved. And that was a really critical course that I did back in the day. And this stuff walks you through how to really refine everything in terms of mental analysis and, equipping yourself with some of those different tools that you're going to need to refine your mental analysis. Bankroll is an issue when, bankroll is an easy one. Okay. I'm going to give a very quick, straightforward and simple example of bankroll. If you had $1,000 in your account, you should have lots of buy-ins. And what I mean by a buy-in is if you're going and trading and let's say, for example, you take a trade on this 1 minute level. If you had $1,000 and that's everything you had in your account was $1,000, you should be able to split that out into 20 to 40 to even sometimes 100 buy-ins. So if you were to split it into 100 buy-ins, what you would do is you would go to your futures account and you would put $10 in your account and trade with only $10. If you liquidate $10, then fine, you still have 990 left and you therefore have 100 buy-ins with $1,000. If you want to do only 40 buy-ins, then you would appropriate the math accordingly, right? If you wanted to do $20 buy-ins, you'd have 50 buy-ins, for example, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really important. That bankroll is easy. You just make sure that you have enough buy-ins in your account between active and passive accounts to support that. So, and I think there might be people here who don't know what active and passive accounts are. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a little diagram here on the screen. So let's say you have $1,000, right? Excuse the poor scribble writing, but that's what it's going to be. Say you have $1,000. What you really want to do is keep this in your main account. If you're trading futures, you just want to keep this in your spot account, your main account. And all you're going to do is you're going to define how many buy-ins you want. So how many times could you get liquidated? If you made all the wrong decisions in the world and you constantly liquidated accounts, we have to look at this number as how many accounts do we have? So if you had $100, if you put $100 out of this 1,000 into your trading account, like your futures account, then you have essentially 10 buy-ins because 10 times 100 is 1,000. So you'd have 10 buy-ins, which I don't think is enough. So immediately you need to scale that down. Let's go and say, let's do $50 into our account. So now this is left with now $950 in it because we simply transferred $50 over. This would give us 20 buy-ins. You could do this 20 times. And that would, that would give you your $1,000 of capital. So you really need to be able to have a lot of buy-ins in your account. I like the rule minimum of 40 buy-ins, but I tend to lean more towards 100 for brand new traders. So as you're getting better, you can scale that down. So if you only had $1,000, if you were to have 100 buy-ins, it means that you're doing, $10 per trading account, basically per trading account. When I say trading account, I just mean that you have moved money from your spot account to your futures account so that you could do this and lose this $10 100 times. As you get better and better, again, you can scale that number appropriately and until this starts to grow. So bankroll is actually a very, very straightforward, simple one to do because you just break down your main account into buy-ins so that you're not blowing through all your money. If you've set aside $1,000 and you're saying, this is the money I want to learn with, then you have to make sure you're giving yourself room for error and room to make these mistakes to say look, I liquidated an account. That's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not going to stress me out. It's not going to affect my mentals. And then it's just something where you can roll through very quickly and you can say, yeah, I lost an account. I still have $999 left. That sucked. But, not as bad as losing the full 1,000 and having to go into your pocket and putting it back in there. Right. Would you recommend trading before finishing mentorship? I would recommend doing as much training as you can. Everybody's going to have their own path that they go on, but I would recommend doing as much training as you can. Already watched MA course 3 times, an absolute game changer, watching it for the 4th time tomorrow. Yeah. And so my mental analysis course, I figure I focus on proactive solutions. So what I don't like to do is to tell people, and this is where I see Mark Douglas's book when it was first written in the 90s, and I've told this story many times. This is going to be a repeat for a lot of people. But when Mark Douglas's book, Trading in the Zone, was written in the 90s, it was very culturally accepted, and it was very much the tone of what was happening in the 90s. So, you have to just be, so something he says in his book often is you have to be okay that the markets can change anytime. So if you break that down and boil it down to he's giving you a message, what message do you interpret? The message is simply just things happen, just accept it, don't stress out. That's like if, your kid falls down a flight of stairs, like, it happens, don't stress out. Well, this sucks. Like, can't we put safety measures and handrails and things like that so children don't fall off the stairs, give them socks with rubber little bumpers on it and whatever? Mental analysis is come a long way since the 90s, and this was no default or defect of Mark Douglas. He was exactly culturally appropriate at the time, and this is what we knew about working with the mind in terms of psychology and some of the things we can do. I take a different approach, a more modern approach, and it's not to say Mark Douglas's stuff isn't great, but relevant for the time, right? It's just like a book wrote for the 1800s was relevant for the time, but some of those same teachings may not be applicable to today's world, such as, hey, the plague is part of our everyday life, so we should wear 2 pairs of socks instead of 1, so we don't get diseases on our feet. That this is no longer something we face as a society. We don't, maybe some countries, yes, but for the most part, this is not something that most people will face in the world. Again, maybe relevant for the 1800s, same type of thing. These are not really relevant teachings anymore. Again, without his books and his writing, he was a pioneer to the industry. Without his writing, we wouldn't have any psychology work in day trading and mental analysis. But my mental analysis is a bit different. I like to focus on proactive methods of fixing things before they come, ways that we can increase our brain and the way it's structured and the way we think, so that we can subvert these things by proactively having solutions to these problems from zero. So an example would be time tokens. If you have 24 hours in a day, you have 24 1-hour time tokens, and your mind is like a tank of gas. It goes down all day long. The difference is we lose performance as we get lower in gas. So technically our brain is the highest level of functionality in the early tokens in the day. So if you sleep for the first 6 hours of the day, you wake up at 6 a.m., those 6 tokens don't count because you're in a 4-hour REM sleep cycle. You wake up, your first token is going to be the most active your brain is going to be. Every token after that loses efficiency. Therefore, you don't make as good of decisions as the day goes on. It's just a very simple example of the way we can look at mental analysis and then see that, hey, if we're more efficient at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., by 10 a.m., we are losing efficiency. We should probably do our trading early in the morning. So then we tailor our schedule and do things like that. And so that's just like a quick example of progressive mental analysis, but that's really where mental analysis, the focus should be. So that's all mental analysis evolved. And people who haven't seen that course, I go through a whole bunch of different tools like that. It actually took me quite a long time to even create that course. I remember being there and working for weeks and weeks on end on every single lesson. And I have a huge background in psychology. My mother's a psychologist and psychiatrist. So I already was equipped with a huge background in mental analysis and psychology, but then I really immersed myself into that world and created Mental Analysis Evolved. So that's ground zero for everybody in here, no matter how good of a trader you are. Mental Analysis Evolved is the course, even if you're one of the coaches at their level or one of the traders who are constantly doing 100, 200, 300, 400% a day, even at their level, it's something I say, like, go back once every few months, rewatch it, constantly refine your engine, because that's going to help you become a better trader at all levels, whether it's beginner, advanced, or pro. It's all levels benefit from this. I'm going to just scroll through some questions here. I wish I learned this when I started back then. Absolutely. Daily learning charting routine for new traders. Good question, Y2. I think you start with Mental Analysis Evolved, understand the way the mind interprets information, and then allow yourself to make a schedule that's tailored to you, that finds the balance between the best time of the day that you can trade, optimize those decisions, because you can have the point of what's the best learning routine, but everybody's routine is going to be different. Because where I go to work at 6 a.m., well, actually, technically, I'm usually working on chart raiders at 5 a.m. because I'm usually up at 4:30 in the morning. For me, my routine is going to be very different than somebody who has to get their kids to school and can't start trading till 9. So when you're asking for a good learning charting routine, I would say the first step in that is watching Mental Analysis Evolved, just to understand how to optimize that decision the best first. Because before giving yourself a routine, you could equip somebody with 3 routines that are vastly different. And I'm going to say, okay, Y2, I'm going to give you an option between A, B, or C. You get to see what each of these routines look like. Maybe option A, your routine, you start charting at 10 a.m., you take a break at 11:45, you take exactly a 15-minute break, and then you do this for the next 20 minutes. You go review for the next 5 minutes, and that's option A. And there might be one, and this could be a trick question, where one of these A, B, or C is highly superior. So it's the routine that I've perfectly refined to say this is the best of the best. You cannot beat this. This is going to be the highest quality routine you can have. And it might even be a trick question. But then the crossroad is that one of those routines are going to make you the most optimized. So whether or not I have the master routine and the trick question where we A, B, or C is an absolute correct one, actually B or C, if A was correct, B or C might be better for you. You might have more success with B or C based on the fact that your mental analysis and your mentals are completely refined to what your schedule and the way your mind works. So like that is the first thing I would say to that question is you have to go and understand the in-depth portions of mental analysis, because a mind that's firing on all cylinders will do better in all situations than some routine or some copy paste strategy that people give you. Mind health first and foremost. Should I start day trading in 2023? Of course, it's never going to change. Like, it's as saturated as drop shipping. That's fine. You have nothing to worry about. You can day trade. See advice for someone who has an addictive personality. There's nothing wrong. There's a lot of traders I think get into day trading with addictive personalities. A lot of gamers, a lot of poker players, a lot of ex-athletes. Day trading attracts a lot of people, and it can be a very romantic and very creatively rewarding relationship that you have with day trading. You know, with day trading, it has payoffs on all levels. It gives you the highs, it gives you the lows, it gives you your emotional roller coasters. It has all the makings of everything human beings need to become addicted to it. So like, I don't think having an addictive personality, there's anything wrong with that. And for people, that would be like saying, are people with addictive personalities defective because they can't do it? Well, I would say no, absolutely not. I think there's just, going back to Mental Analysis Evolved again, the refinement of your mind to allow you to trade properly and to allow you to make the highest quality decisions possible. And then when you realize that, then there's a bridge you cross where the addictive nature starts to take a backseat to the progression you make. So I would say there's nothing wrong with having an addictive personality as long as you're putting your energy in the right spots. People with addictive personalities are also really hard grinders and pushers. So there's also a benefit to having an addictive personality where you're just like, oh, I need more. I'm thirsty. I'm drinking water by the gallon right now and I can't stop. But there's definitely benefits for people who do get in this field and they're like, I can't get enough. He stay as far in trading, especially the world continent said science will never fail. Yes, exactly. The science will never fail and never change. It never will. It never has. The science is so deeply embedded into the history of day trading that the sciences that we use aren't going to change. They may adjust, and the rules and the techniques we use, like for example, right now we use a ton of +1, -1 on the charts. Not a theory I'll get into. That's more mentorship stuff. But I remember a time back 6 months ago or a year ago, we didn't use a lot of +1, -1. It was still there, and it was dramatically used for huge moves. There's a very famous clip of me saying, create the 4-hour and then let it dump. Like there's a famous clip of that. And that was +1, -1 theory that I used off of something we call origin creation. And so that was a clip that's almost 3 years old now. And that led to one of the biggest dumps Bitcoin had ever made. And we were sitting there in mentorship that day. I remember the exact day it happened because I remember also going to my wife and saying, we did this mentorship lesson today. And I told them that if the 4-hour creates that Bitcoin would hit the floor and we'll go from 50K all the way down to like 20K or lower. And then it happened. It was just like as we predicted, because there was no difference. The science on the charts is a science on the charts. And there's a lot of people in this chat that were there. I believe Ahivet was there and possibly Jude was there. No, Ahivet was there. Anyways, not important. There's a lot of people there. And like, I remember +1, -1 wasn't being used a lot then, but it was still used in critical moments like that. And then so recently in mentorship, we looked back at that. Actually, we looked back at I think about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we looked back at that moment and studied it, because I taught them how I found that part of the chart. And then they were just kind of, their minds were blown, because they were like, oh my God, that's something we just learned. That was 3 years ago. I remember that clip. That was crazy. And then they go and they back check the science to, fact check my work. And they found like the whole mentorship group was like, wow, this is insane. But then again, +1 -1 wasn't really used a lot then. So this is kind of the way the science works, is that there's a lot of tools and the way they're used shifts. Like right now, it's a ton of +1 -1. So in mentorship, we're focusing on that right now. It's a ton of origin creation, +1 -1, some of the deeper stuff. So the science actually never changes. It hasn't since the 1800s. It's just the rules change. Like right now, +1 -1 has come into flavor huge because of the way the charts are set up. This is not a personal choice that's made. It's dictated by what has happened on the charts in the past. So you can actually almost predict what trends are going to come next in trading and charting. You can say, oh, it was very obvious that +1 -1 would be used right now, and origin creation will control the polarity of the market right now. But again, that's because we could see that. And then, in a few months from now, there's going to be a completely different handshake in the markets, and we're going to have, so they just constantly shift and change. They never actually break outside the science, because the science is deeply embedded into the way the charts work. So far, in fact, that they actually can't ever change. You'd almost have to reset day trading, have some kind of data purge. Like I think in 2025, we're supposed to have some kind of solar flares that's knocking out global internet for 3 weeks. I don't know. Maybe in 2025, it'll fry all the databases as well. We'll have no information left, and for some reason, no backups exist. And then maybe the rules will change. But this is obviously like a fictional scenario that's not going to happen, right? But yeah, so crazy story for anybody who doesn't know. In 2025, the globe is apparently losing, everywhere in the world will lose internet for a few months, because there's solar flares that are going to emit EMPs into Earth. So that's crazy. Anyways, not important for this, but getting back to it, I'm going to keep reading questions here. It goes hand in hand with the Valley of Disappointment, the VOD. Yeah, absolutely. Bell curves and Valley of Disappointment are a huge thing in all learning, especially day trading. I've watched MA 8 times, honestly, especially Rebirth, and it did a lot for me. Also Vitality. I really like Vitality. That's a good one, Crever. Bitget or Mexi. Mexi for now. I like Mexi currently. Nice drug indeed. Not sure what that one is, but okay. Yep. Addictive personalities is what we keep going. I was still struggling. Just matters whether you change or not mentally. 100% JDM. And yeah, JDM's been around in this community for a long time. A very, very good advocate for the science, and somebody who has definitely had his ups and downs in trading. And, I watch everybody in this server. I don't comment a lot, but I read every comment and watch everything. And, JDM has been someone who's been a strong advocate for the science, and someone who's shown that just, with enough push, you can make it. Cause, from what I see, JDM does quite good now. So, yeah, great job, JDM, by the way. I've been watching some of your stuff in the crypto chats lately. Which one is it? Yeah, crypto charts in that one. I see you going. I believe you go drop in Forex charts as well. 20K hours on Warframe, looking at me proudly. Warframe, yep. Already 3 years. Holy ass, time flies. Yep. For new traders, would you recommend practicing trading altcoins or just sticking to BTC? Great question, Y2. I would just stick with Bitcoin, because everything follows Bitcoin. Like no matter, and I can do a quick example here. Oh, damn, maybe I should have taken that 1 minute on 200X, huh? Okay, it doesn't matter. For example, you can go to, we can even just do split screen for this example. Just, I don't know, pick a random coin. Sol looks good. Yeah. Looks good, feels good. Cool. You can go to Sol and you can see where you're going to have the exact same ladder points. Like you'll see on my left and right screen, you can see the crosshair moving on the left screen. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but you can see the level down here is the same level on Bitcoin. They're of the same candle. The next dip here is of the same candle on Bitcoin. These two dips here. These next candles here are of the same candles on this chart. You're trying to gain an hourly hold level here, right? Right now, you're trying to gain an hourly hold level here. On this side of the chart, you're also trying to gain your hourly hold level back here. So it's one and the same charts, and you are going to get that exact same thing. Like you have this move up here on Bitcoin. You can see it's the exact same candle that we're at right now currently, right? And so there's some range nuances and things like that, but you're not going to get any information from charting Sol, Solana, or Doge or Ethereum. It's all going to be the same. You're going to go to any of these charts and you're going to see the exact same points. Like you've got this dip here, you've got this dip here, and it's all within the respect of the range on these charts, right? It's literally going to be the same charts, just Bitcoin to altcoins. So there's no point in really charting altcoins. You just chart Bitcoin and you can make your decisions appropriate on altcoins. If I was trading altcoins myself, I never would chart a single altcoin in my life. I would just chart Bitcoin and be like, hey, there's a 4-hour hold level here. That looks good. What's the price? I only need to know where that same level is. So if I was going to do that, I would go like this and I would say, I don't know, let's just pick a random spot on the chart. Let's just go up here and say, hey, if I was going to long this, what's the date on this? This is backside right here. Looks pretty decent. Let's just even do front side right here. Let's actually go to the 4-hour. Let's find a really big level. Go to the 4-hour and say like, yeah, this one looks fine here. Just picking a random time. 4-hour level, cool. What should I buy inside this 4-hour level? I'd go replay here. I'd go like this. I'd find my level, the correct level. I'd say, okay, so you've got a backside there. So we can connect it here on the hourly. We can combo it to the 15 right here. Is there anything else left to be connected? You got the 5-minute backside. Yeah, it looks good. You've got a 3-minute there and possibly a 1-minute right here. So there's possibly all the way connected down to a 1 minute. At that point, I would measure between, I think this was the 15. I would measure between the 15 and the 1. There's no disconnected levels here, so that's good. What's the difference in price? We're talking about 12%. I don't know. I don't think I'd miss a trade over 12%. I'd probably just buy this 15-minute level here. And then so, you know, you can take your hourly candle. I think that's perfectly fine. Was a 15-minute level, right? Yeah, 15-minute level right here. Yeah, looks good. Let's just hit play here, see what happens. Go for the 15-minute level, random spot on the chart. You know, maybe we'll go to the hourlies and make this a little faster. Oh, look at that. It actually went after the 1 minute, but then it reversed the 15. And you're in a trade, you're in a good spot, up 90%. So what date was this? This was September 23rd. You just hit play and let this go. Yeah, and then it reversed the 15. So clearly the 1 minute was the correct buy here, right? 1 minute's the correct buy. It reverses the 15. But what date is this? This is September 23rd at 4 in the morning. Yeah, let's just go to like Ethereum, for example. September 23rd. Okay, good. We're in the same spot. So we ended up buying the 15-minute level from where? Oh, son of a B. Okay, that's fine. It's right here. We ended up buying the 15-minute level at 8 a.m., right? On the 7th. So if we go back to Ethereum, find the 15-minute level on the 7th. Oh man, I think I need to do a dual layout. I keep losing my spot. My brain isn't working. Okay. Zoom out here. So we are right here. So we're at that candle right there by the 15-minute level right there. Let's take that replayer tool and cut it off. Right here, right? And so we're looking at a 15-minute level. Where is it? Now we're going to go here. We're going to go 15-minute time frame here as well, just so we can match time frames. So it's this level right here. So you're looking at this valley right down here. So then you're literally buying right here. And then you just hit, we'll go to the hourly charts to fast forward this. I don't want to sit here and there's your 15-minute level, and it hits and it'll support the move, right? It'll support the move just like Bitcoin deep dove its move to the 1 minute. It's going to do the same thing and likely target the 1 minute back here. And oopsies, you've got a bit of a difference. Like you have your variation that you play for on the charts, and that's it. But that's how all coins are. And you find your levels, and when you're accurate, it's going to be the exact same levels that are going to bounce the move. Exact same candle. You can see right here, the exact same candle bounces the move off the same levels. You know, I'm sure if you go in and find this 1 minute level inside of here, you'll get even more accurate. Where is it? Would have been this one, untested level. And then say la vie, it's all the same thing, right? Like you do have that amplifier, as you always do. When Bitcoin moves up, I don't know if Bitcoin has a crazy day, like 10% altcoins are moving up like 200%. So you do have that multiplier, but you really don't need to chart anything outside of Bitcoin. So I would just say like you don't need to chart anything else. Bitcoin is perfectly fine, and then you can make your decisions appropriately, and you just make your adjustments, right? With those multipliers kind of, you know, at the front of your mind. Is it possible to be profitable being a grinder with the current material on YouTube? Absolutely. There's a ton of people who are hyper profitable. Even people who make like 1,000% a day sometimes just with the current stuff that's on YouTube. So absolutely. Just finished at level 2 and started making some bits here and there while studying my wins and losses. Nice job, man. Nice job. Finishing everything would be best. Of course, the more you finish, the better you're going to be, right? And we're going to talk about what material to start to trade for people. What about market makers? They always trying to take our money. I wouldn't worry about them. And that's just, don't fill your mind with those kind of variables that aren't really real and you have no control over. Only focus on the science and making good, accurate trades. Charts do what they're supposed to even when they follow that. Yes, so Tempest actually nailed it on the head. You know, a good example of this is this morning. A simple 1 minute untested level here. Typical trade that I would take, or most traders of this caliber would take, tip perfectly there. You know, people who are controlling the markets are doing all the same thing. The charts are going to be the charts. It's not something I'd pay attention to. 10 or more big players that are waiting for them to show weakness. Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely with Tempest. And this is almost words taken right out of my mouth. You are not going to have whales and people. If there was like, let's just talk about this for a second. If there's a whale, he has $20 million. He puts a trade on Bitcoin. He's taking a huge risk playing that $20 million because there's people with even more money always waiting behind. So people say market makers. There aren't really any market makers. The levels themselves are the market makers because people who know how to trade, they use the levels. So, you know, the levels on the charts, the correct levels, those are the market makers, not the people who actually go and, you know, say, hey, I've got $20 million. Let's buy this level. Wow, someone with $20 million or someone with $50 million waiting in the shadow to make sure they take advantage of their mistakes. Because you have to realize, you know, for us, we trade 1,000 or 2,000 or even 5,000, or sometimes I'll do like $25,000 trades on big leverage. I do 25 grand on big leverage. I am nothing compared to some of the bigger players out there. And then everybody in this chat would look at me being like, Cont, you're doing 25K on 100x leverage. What are you, a psycho? You're okay with losing 25 grand. And then there's a bigger shark sitting there waiting for me to make a mistake, because you have to realize that in order for somebody who's doing $1 million on 100x leverage, they also need the liquidity of the other people to fill their orders. And for that person who's trading $1 million, well, there's a trader out there with $10 million who says, I need some big people to buy this because I need the liquidity to fill my $10 million at 100x, and so forth and so forth. There's always a bigger shark in the waters, and that never changes. So the fact that people say market makers, there's no such thing as market makers. Levels are market makers. I'm sure there are people who hold up the price, but they do it at correct levels. They didn't get that much money, and they're not in the game as deep as they are because they are buying incorrect levels. They're only buying the correct levels, and as they get better and better over the years, they make more and more money, which makes them even bigger market makers, but they're still buying the levels. So the best way to think of this is that market makers are the levels on our charts, not the people who put the orders there. The levels end up being the market makers, because even if you have the biggest whale in the world with $100 million of leverage on a level, there's another whale just as big saying, oh, look, I can now make $100 million because this other idiot whale, he put his orders there. Now I can just get an even lower, right? Fake liquidity levels. I think a lot of that stuff like order canceling, fake liquidity levels, market makers, this is all just terms that people throw around when they don't really understand the way the markets work. Nobody who made, let me explain this to you. Nobody who's made $100 million in day trading did it out of luck. And nobody who's got $100 million is risking $100 million to swallow up a bunch of people's. They're not risking $100 million or even 10 million. Christ, I wouldn't even risk 30 grand trying to catch somebody out. No, that money's important to me. I'm not sitting there trying to waste 30 grand on the fact that I can force a short and then somebody bigger with 50 grand buys up my short and then I get smoked. What? Because I was trying to swallow little guys? These are things and terms that people use to try to justify their shortcomings on the charts. This will never be a thing. It never has been a thing. This is a very big misconception in our industry, something Mark Douglas talks about. Oh, well, and I think this is where a lot of it stems too. Let me pick up the phone. I remember reading his book a long time ago. I have to paraphrase this because it's been a solid 10 years since I've read that book. I read it when I first started, like maybe a year after or something after I first. It's been a long time. I remember there's a part in the book where he's talking in third person from his student, I believe it was, or a colleague or something. And he says, oh, well, Mark, what about Why can't I place an order here, or something to the effect of, let me just, buy the news. And then he goes and says, hold on there, Jimmy, 1 second. Let me pick up the phone. Yeah. Though that order on whatever Nike. Yeah. Let's put $10 million on it short. And then all of a sudden the first person who said, well, why don't we trade the news? And then Mark Douglas, and again, this is highly paraphrased because it's been 10 years. Then Mark Douglas says, well, look at how fast things can change. I can pick up the phone. You can't control it. This is an old way of thinking. This is not real. It never has been. These markets have always been hyper controlled by the science. And I think that's where a lot of this comes from. This idea that people have clung on to the fact that, well, we can't explain it. So let's just say it's market makers, or it's just liquidity hunters, or none of these things make sense. If you had $100 million in trading, you got there because you know how to trade and because you're buying proper levels. You're not risking it when you can just buy proper levels. If you've already made $100 million buying proper levels, why would you risk that same amount of money to say, oh, well, we can just do some kind of weird backdoor strategy? No, we can just buy the right level. So I think there's kind of a common sense there that has to happen with people to realize that a lot of talk goes around in this industry about market makers, about liquidity hunting, about whale stops, just the terminologies that people use. Put yourself in the shoes of somebody who has $100 million. Are you risking it all to try to catch some little guys out? Or are you just buying the levels that made you a billionaire to begin with, or a multi-millionaire to begin with, doing the same thing? Or would you all of a sudden flip the script and be like, I made $100 million. It's been a good run. Let's just try to smoke out all these little guys. Like, why? If you've already made $100 million, why do you need to do that? So there's a common sense behind that. And I think that's something people need to realize. Would I still recommend my longer OG videos? So I do really like the condensed videos because I think they are... A lot of people praise the older original content material. So for people who don't know, I have 2 Future of Trading courses. There's one Future of Trading course, which was super long. I condensed it into Future of Trading Remastered because I wanted people to be able to learn more quicker. I'm a big fan of Remastered because I think the knowledge you learn in Butterfly Effect supersedes it. But there's a lot of people who love the OG. My advice to people would be complete level 1 through 6. And we'll go after this, go through this in a few minutes here. I'm going to catch up on chat and then I'll show you how I would recommend going through the courses. And there's a lot of people who love that original course, the OG course. I would recommend going through the full thing first and then seeing if you need the OG course on a second run through. Yeah, you took that 1 minute trade. Great job. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very simple. If we had $100 million, let's do this. Would we try to short this level, this 1 minute level? If we had $100 million, let's put it this way. Okay, we can have two ways that we trade. Okay, so there's a 1 minute level down here. It's untested. Let's just walk through a scenario because I think this is actually quite important. Okay, we have a 5 minute level here. Let's see, is 5 minute level tested? Oh, it's tested right there. We already tested this. So let's go into here. Is there any 5 minute levels here? There's a 5 minute level right here. And do we have a combo level there? Yeah, we kind of do have a combo level there. We can go right here for the 1 minute level. So then we can go here. And I think this is the next good spot to buy. And then, you can just kind of go forward through the charts, like, because we're just going to hit play here. So these would be your like good spots to buy, right? Oh, look, that just hit. Okay, so we've confirmed that we've already back tested all these. So we can delete this. We can delete this. What would be the next best buy here? Okay, well, we just laddered this 15 minute. We held it. There's a 1 minute level. So I'm Mr. Whale. I have $100 million. Let me short this level, which should bring it up. Place an order here and try to force short liquidity to this level so that I can place, let's just split this down the middle. Let's say this person has billions of dollars. Let's use $50 million and short 50 million on this level and put a $50 million order on that level. So not only do we have to short order 50 million because we're quote unquote liquidity hunting, we have to short $50 million. We have to hope that somebody else will buy up that liquidity and that we can also get filled on this. It's because that's $100 million you're expecting to be filled on at this level now. So if this were the case, does this sound like a good strategy? Or would you just say, yeah, like, I've made hundreds of millions or 100 million, $50 million already just doing the same thing, buy this 1 minute level. I think I should just buy this 1 minute level. Well, let's see what happens. Because imagine how much liquidity you'd have to push to break these levels. Oh, sick. Look at that 1 minute level. Nice. Cool. You just bought a 1 minute level. Great. I think we should just buy this next 1 minute level now. We can delete that. We can delete this. Cool. You're just like going from 1 minute level to 1 minute level. Let's buy this one next. This one even get hit yet? I don't even know. No, it hasn't got hit. That would just be the next one. It's just a simple trail of, level to level. So like, I think this whole thing about liquidity hunting and all that is just completely, it's just such pointless talk. Nobody's risking that kind of money when this stuff works. There's no point to it. It's like, gambling it all on star patterns. Do it if you want, I guess. I don't know. This will be on YouTube for sure. So for my accuracy is 80% just at level 2. I did 154% in 7 days on Picket. Congrats, man. Now I'm thinking of switching to MEXC with all the recommendations for everybody. I would use MEXC for now. The fees are really good. We have a community link that you'll need to use for chart raiders anyways. I would do that. We do have some announcements coming out in that regard soon. So if you want to hold off too, you can. If you're doing okay on MEXC or on Picket. Then on intuition, controlling the charts or creating liquidity, all those levels kind of traders fool you. The chart is creating data point and it's for you to find that data point. Exactly. Yeah. Over 4 years of grinding day trading, the only thing I still follow from supposedly market makers are not losing touch and some light practicing even when they can't trade, rest all they say and create emotional volatility upon retailers. Yep. I keep struggling to find the right levels. So that's TA. If you're not finding the right levels, it's 100% TA. OG is my favorite, 93 videos. It is quite in depth. It is quite in depth for sure. Yeah, maybe like with everybody's recommendation, I created the content, so I'm in a position to comment on the intention that it was created for. The intention was to help people get through it faster. Now everybody else interpreting the material will be better assessed to say, like, I was a brand new trader, I went through this, I find OG better, I'm going to stick with my audience. And if they find it better, I'm going to go with them. Try to explain this to my friends in the country. There's no liquidity hunt or intuition traders controlling charts, but they will not believe because there have been sold all this liquidity set up in the science. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. We need sheep in the markets too, because that's the slaughter that we all feed off of. So this is not a bad thing that we have traders out there that are believing in these things and agreeing with it, because at the end of the day, every person who loses $1, somebody else makes $1. So the more people that we have that lose money, the more easy it is for us to make money. As grim as that sounds, we need sheep to be led into the slaughter so that we can eat, right? It is just the way it is. And if people want to believe in that kind of stuff, then you just smile and nod and let them trade that way. And you focus on the science, and the science will always win. It never fails. It hasn't failed since I've started. It hasn't failed since the 1800s. It will always be there. And, for those who want to believe in market making and liquidity hunting and all that, then yeah, go nuts. We all need to eat, and somebody has to sacrifice that dollar that you make. So I think it's fine. It's a little grim to say, because I also want everybody to succeed, but some people, they just don't want to listen, or they have their own method of doing it. And if that's what they believe, then all the more power to them. There's lots of people that make lots of money in the markets in different ways, and if that's what works for them, then you just smile and nod. Order block ideas. Honestly, the market has data points, and those data points we trade. Yep. I mean, it's quite straightforward. I'm looking to internally and trying to force trades. It's been both MA and TA for me to a degree. Yeah, absolutely. 80% accuracy just with level 2. So every different trader, Inferno, I wouldn't focus on that. So I think a lot of what happens in day trading for new traders is they look at other people's results, and you hear a statement like, I've only been to level 2 and I already have 80% accuracy. And that makes the individual who's reading it, who's comparing themselves to that person. So I'm just going to use you in this case. And now you may or may not be doing this. That's not the point. The point is the message. I don't understand how someone can have an 80% accuracy with just level 2. Maybe you're on level 2 and you think that you must be doing something wrong, or they might be lying. And, for them, it could simply be a lucky streak. Now, I'm not chalking his success up to a lucky streak, but it could be. Or it could be that he's a really quick learner, or maybe he has a very unique skill set that allowed him to adapt the knowledge very quickly. Like me, for example, when I first started, I had a very unique skill set from poker that allowed me to be hyper successful very quickly. You know what I mean? So this is something where we can never compare ourselves to each other, because everybody has their own unique journey, and we only focus on how we can make ourselves better. Not same thing with liquidity hunting. We can't push the responsibility to just the fact that, oh, somebody's liquidity hunting. No. You missed a trade. You messed up. You didn't mark the right levels. I don't think there's been a time since I've started where I've always been able to explain a move every single time. Even when I called the top of Bitcoin at 64.6, there was a very specific reason it went there. There's never been a time since I've started doing this now for over 10 years, over a decade, that I've been stumped, not once. So I think that's pretty important to realize. After the stock market, you meet two kinds of people, some with money and some with experience. At the end of the day, those with experience leave with money, and those with money leave with experience. Oh, that's a great way to put it, Morangic. That's an awesome way to put it. 3 years of 40% accuracy before cotton. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the order in which we should consume this material. So like you're on my page, right? The order you should consume this material is always straightforward. If you want some bonus content, this is the featured videos, right? You have the ultimate risk guide, you have the ultimate stop loss guide, you have, things in there, overcoming fear of failure. This is actually a really good video. So if you haven't seen this one here, overcoming fear of failure, it's a huge MA video. 100% recommend this. This is all stuff that's good, but really where people need to be focusing is level 1 through level 6. Once that is complete, where is it? So I'm going to go into level 6 and level 5 for a moment. It's been so long since I've looked at these playlists that I need to, wow, I look so young in these. What do we have here? This just goes through all of butterfly effect, right? Yes, it does. This goes through butterfly effect 2. Level 3 has those. We need to go see level 4 because we have something called the mentorship files, which is your kind of thing I think that a lot of people miss. And I never really changed this. Yeah, so this is all blueprint. That's fine. So there's something that a lot of people miss here, which is called the mentorship files, which is, I don't even know if I actually have it up here. Strategy series, bonus content, older series. Future of Trading original is right there. So if people want to see the Future of Trading original series, it's right there. We actually don't have the mentorship files in here. So what people need to do is see these ones here, the mentorship files. I'm going to put this updated into the playlists. Actually, what people need to do is they need to complete. Okay, let's go back here and we're going to go to this in a second. You're back down to. No, we can't do it like that. That's fine. We'll go to it in a second. What people need to do is go through level 1 to 6. That's first and foremost. This is going to be your bread and butter. Start at level 1. Your expectation should be, here, let's pause this for a second. Your expectation should be that you start at level 1. Consider yourself a beginner until you're beyond course number 3. I believe course number 3 is Future of Trading. Future of Trading is always, yeah, so this is Future of Trading. Remastered, right? So there's 10 lessons. It's condensed. If you want to go the hard journey on this and you want the full on experience, then you go down here and you go to this Future of Trading playlist down here. This was the original Future of Trading, and it is a huge playlist. Like there is, God, I don't know how many videos there are in this. So this is 93 videos, this Future of Trading. This Future of Trading is 10. So I condense 93 videos into 10. So you have to make that decision. As a beginner, I would say as a beginner, you want to go through level 1, level 2, and then decide which part of level 3 you're going to take. To answer that question, should we watch the OG content or not? So this is your beginner's path right here, level 1, 2, and 3. Before you go to level 4, 5, and 6, you need to kind of complete the beginner's path. So you go through level 1, all is good, should be easy to get through. Go through level 2. This should take you a weekend to get through both of these, or 1 week. You've got 18 plus 5. You've got 23 videos here that you could get through in a weekend. You might need to watch them 2 times if you're taking all that information in just 1 weekend. You get to level 3. I would recommend you take the level 3 course of 10 lessons first. If you feel like you have a good grasp on trading and that you can make good decisions, your marking levels, they're getting hit often and correctly, I would say that would be good by taking this. If you complete level 3, these 10 videos, and this is pretty easy to get through level 3. Level 3 is 10 videos, 10 minutes each. You're talking about an hour to 2. You're talking about 2 hours of material here. It's one movie. You can get all through all of this in an afternoon. So you take level 3. If you find that your levels are getting marked properly, you're really following, trends are accurate, you're doing really well, that's good. From there, you're done your beginner's track. You can move on to level 4, and then you're starting on the kind of advanced track, which is 4, 5, 6, right? If at the beginner's phase you do level 3 and you find, okay, I'm just not getting it, my levels aren't that good, I still have lots more to learn, scroll down here, go to this one right here, Future of Trading, and watch all 93 videos for weeks on end. It'll take you probably a week or two to finish it minimum, because this is a lot. This is 90 something videos. And this is a much bigger set of examples that goes through very detailed breakdowns, very specific ways that we talk about things. It shows everything this 10 video playlist shows, but it shows them with 4 and 5 examples each, and it goes over them over and over and over and over. So that's how you decide, in my opinion, to take level 3, whether you take the remastered or the original course. That's how I would make that decision. And then once you're done one of those two, congrats, you're kind of past that phase on beginners. Here we go. Level 3 is 2 hours. I guess you don't have Morangic. Level 5 and Future Trading OG are incredibly related. Yes, I would agree. Level 5 is 27 hours. Level 4 is 13 hours. See how short these ones are here? Level 1 is an hour, 1.3 hours. Level 2 is 3 hours. Level 3 is a little under 3 hours. So in a weekend, you could get these all done. I'm not sure how long OG is, but it's long. It's 90 something videos. It's probably something like this is 27 hours, level 5. It's probably close to that. It's probably close to the same thing. 100 Trades in Review. I think 100 Trades in Review is fine to check out while you're doing it. I think it's a fun series. I think the 100 Trades in Review, which is this series, just kind of shows me discussing how other people are making their trades. I think it's a fun series to watch. That's a good break. That'll give you a bit of a higher level insight. And I don't think you really need to understand it. I think there's little tips and tricks you can pick up on it. So I would kind of watch this if you're like, oh, I want to watch, I want to learn, but I'm kind of burned out from the material. I can't do it. This is a fun series where you can just, open one of these videos. I make a few jokes at the front, and then you're just watching somebody else trade. You're not having to learn. You're just watching me talk about their trade. So I think this is a fun series that can be a nice learning moment that's not as hard to kind of follow mentally, because sometimes the material, like this material is really dry. And I know that. I always have known that my material is dry, but it's also extremely scientific, and it's also very, very, very specific in its teachings. We don't do a lot of fluff. It's just hardcore knowledge, and that's it. So like I think the material can get dry, and it's a great way to break it up while still learning. Live fast, eat trash. I do like that one too. Yeah, it's a good one. FOT original is 20 hours. Yeah, that's crazy. And I think that's a good start for anybody who wants to become a trader. At the simplest level, and starting this journey in this process, I think we kind of covered everything that I would like to cover. And yeah, good luck in your journey, and check out the next video that we do for the Pro series, which will tackle 4, 5, and 6, the best ways to get through, and some more advanced things. Actually, that's the advanced series. The Pro will be on everything past level 6.